Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another Splinter Cell review. This time we're diving into Splinter Cell Chaos Theory. Before Chaos Theory, another Splinter Cell I played was Conviction, which was released a few years after Chaos Theory, and I had a blast with it. This game competes with several great titles released around the same time, so it had to be a fierce contender in the gaming industry. I was recommended to try Chaos Theory by my good friend Ron.
Already unlocked it, mate.
Tom Clancy's Splinter Cell, Chaos Theory.
On my first playthrough, the first thing that struck me was the immense darkness. I understand the importance of darkness in a stealth-based game, but the amount of it in Chaos Theory made the night vision and heat vision equipment almost as important as using a flashlight in a horror game. However, it definitely adds to the immersion, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. Personally, I had headaches from the constant transitions between complete darkness and sudden flashbang-like lighting every 30 to 40 seconds while keeping up with the keybinds, achieving objectives, and dealing with the occasional odd camera angles. That said, on my second playthrough, I found a workaround by adjusting the brightness and contrast settings, allowing me to see more than just pure darkness. This brings me to my next point, the keybinds. In my previous Splinter Cell review, I immediately mentioned the awful default keybinds, middle mouse button to aim, and right click to take cover. This time it was less of an issue, but I still had to aim down sights using E or the middle mouse button. Moving on to the third point, what do I actually have to do? I like to think of myself as not stupid, but I had quite the struggle on my first playthrough, and then there's the map. It was very difficult to comprehend the route using the map. On my second playthrough, it started making more sense. Whether it's a game from the 90s or a modern day release, I'd take a simple 2D map any day over that 3D nightmare. As for the tutorials, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory includes a section with training videos for several game mechanics. But let me tell you, they're both boring to watch and impossible to skip to specific sections. If you want to remind yourself how to add an attachment, which is, let's say, at the end of the video, you'll need to watch the entire thing from the beginning. Now, maybe this is just me, but I prefer a more hands-on approach. A more interactive in-game tutorial would have been ideal, especially with controlled NPCs guiding you through each mechanic. But we have to remember, this is a 20-year-old game. There's only so much it could do with the limitations while also accommodating to the story and other mechanics. I didn't even realize the importance of the tutorials until I reached the bank mission and didn't know how to pick a lock. Let us talk about the NPCs. Before diving into that, let's cover the difficulty levels: normal, hard, and expert. The main differences are the enemy's hearing ability and damage dealt to the player. The reaction times of the NPCs are insane, even on normal difficulty. Their flicking capability and response speed are off the charts. However, they can notice Sam's shadow taking cover against the wall, but somehow fail to spot 3 random green dots or large shadows creeping up behind them. Now, let's discuss weapon accuracy. Honestly, there's not much to say here. It's pretty awful when it comes to taking out enemies. There were several times in my first playthrough where I just wanted to eliminate the enemy to explore in peace, but the accuracy made it extremely frustrating. To add to the difficulty, if you miss a shot, the NPCs turn into a blur and either disappear off screen or send you to the game over screen. The forearm grip attachment improves accuracy a little bit, and the sticky shocker is a one-shot KO as long as you can hit the enemy with very limited ammo. But other weapons like snipers and shotguns offer less scope of usage, and if you're already spotted, and considering the AI of the game, you are doomed regardless of whether you're playing on console or PC. There was one thing I discovered much later into my playthrough. Using the scroll wheel lets you control your movement speed. I believe there are 4 or 5 speeds, each making a different level of noise, which makes it easier to sneak up on enemies depending on the situation. I had to search it up online because I didn't go through all the training videos. I accidentally scrolled down and didn't know how to adjust my movement speed back to normal. As for the level design, it's pretty solid. Everything feels connected. If you keep your eyes peeled, you'll know you're heading in the right direction. The distribution of guards, the light sources around them, and their cycles are well thought out. With enough patience, you can finish levels without ever firing a shot. There are several environmental throwables, and the ability to whistle to lure enemies to a specific location adds to the gameplay. I would have preferred some throwable items as distraction in the loadout itself, but it's not a big deal. Another cool feature of the Splinter Cell games is the ability to create your own cover by shooting out lights, a franchise staple. It's very well executed here, maybe even a little too well. When it comes to mission linearity, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory offers several options for how to approach objectives. You can distract or knock out enemies in different styles or in different parts of their cycles, or simply wait or create the perfect opportunity to sneak past them. The darkness allows for pure stealthy, ninja-like runs, which is awesome. I also appreciate the mission rating screen at the end of each level, which tells you how well you did. For people like me, hitting 100% is a motivator to speedrun the game and experiment with different strategies. However, for more casual players, the 100% rating might not hold as much value, as there is no reward beyond personal satisfaction. PlayStation or Steam achievements are just not enough. Some in-game rewards would be great. Unlike Agent 47, who's a paid assassin, Sam Fisher could have had some unlockable weapons or special loadouts that carry over to a New Game Plus run. This would add replayability and incentivize casual players to work for that 100%. Overall, Splinter Cell Chaos Theory is still an amazing game. Some of my friends who aren't familiar with the Splinter Cell series can't believe it's a 20-year-old game. Despite the darkness and flashing lights and sometimes making my head spin, it adds to the immersion. Of course, we have to consider the hardware limitations of the time, but for what it had, it did great. Even today, the game holds up well, and I think it definitely deserves a remaster. That's all for this video. Drop a like if you enjoyed it, comment below your thoughts if you've played the game or plan to, and subscribe for more reviews and speedruns. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.
How about that raise?
They're cutting us back. You'll have to settle for a vacation.